Welcome back, everybody, to the Mind Your Own Business podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, we have my good friend, Jamie the Thunder Meyer. Jamie's a good buddy of mine, and we're in some mastermind groups together. Jamie's in real estate, amongst other things. Jamie, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here, brother.
Thank you, Steven, for inviting me to this major amazing, let's say amazing podcast that you got going here. And like I said, we are good friends on another mastermind group, and that's where we met each other. And like I said, it's been a great journey so far, being great friends together with you. So yeah, I started like real estate 3 years ago. 3 years, well, yeah, 3 years it'll be in March. I got into a real estate program called Fortune Builders. Basically teach you from A to Z. Like you said, you sign up for the program, and then you get all kinds of stuff, and then you get coaching for a year. You just set up a call. You can get on a call a couple calls a day or whatever it is, and then they kind of help you go through a situation that you have come up, right? And then also they have like a Facebook group where we can throw deals up there, that.
Okay, that's cool. So 3 years ago, you guys started in real estate. What did you do before real estate?
I had a W-2 job and surveying. I surveyed for almost 20 years now.
Wow. So like property surveys, like
property, commercial, road construction.
Wow.
You name it. I've been on some really big projects too, like millions and millions of dollar projects that they're, but that's the big ones been like highway stuff, like bridges and redoing and adding more lanes, whatever it is, right?
Wow. That's cool.
I'm kind of helping out one right now too. This is like a bus lane. It's here in Twin Cities, Minneapolis area, where they're going from the downtown St. Paul area to an outer suburb. So
okay, is that near the Mall of America?
Not this one, not this route.
Okay. I've been to the Mall of America one time. I got a whole bunch of cheese curds in me, and I almost threw up, and then I left.
That place is one of a kind. That is huge.
Yeah, that's a word. That's a way to say it.
Yeah, I haven't been. It's been a while since I've been there. It's probably, God, I would have to say probably a good 2 years, 3 years since I've been there. I don't think you said it's more of I wouldn't say, like you said, it's too big.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, they got their own college in there, right? Their own university inside.
Yeah, and then they also have like play area for kids and stuff. Like they have a little smaller roller coasters, and
it's crazy, like a theme park.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little small theme park for kids.
So tell me a little bit about like why you wanted to leave a W-2 and get involved in real estate.
I basically wanted to be my own boss. Like, I'm sick of working for somebody else and making money for them, right? That's the big thing with entrepreneurs. Like, you want to do your own thing, and like I said, basically create financial freedom so you can do whatever you want whenever you want, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically the main gist of it. Like, I was sick of work and making money for somebody else.
Yeah. So in the last 3 years, right? So you got involved in real estate, what, in 2019 or 2020?
Just before COVID. So when COVID went down, normally they had a live places you go for live coaching stuff where you go. Like, I just got into I had a 3-day one that I got into just before COVID. And then we actually went on site and we walked through some houses and said, okay, what are we going to fix on this? And then like basically, we had like a little spreadsheet, and we kind of went over the spreadsheet of what we're going to fix, what it's going to cost. Just kind of went through that whole spiel like that. And then when a little bit after that, I think it was like a week later, I believe, COVID hit. Well, then that shut down their whole live stuff, and then they went to virtual Zoom stuff, and so then we had, which wasn't like you said it, we were stuck at home, right? So, which was a good thing also too, for us on that side, because then we just sat and watched Zoom calls and learned it that way instead of, I mean, it's granted, it's always nicer to be, on site doing things, but it was also was a waste of time either, right? Because we had to be home anyway, so it's like at least we are working, at least doing something that we love doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, it forced you to be a remote real estate investor, but
Yep,
and then it showed you that you could do that and it was possible. You didn't have to be on site
yep,
to make those deals happen.
exactly. Yep, exactly.
So what kind
It
of
was
deals did you like start looking at? Kind of take me through like your journey through real estate investing, like what you started with and maybe what you're doing now with it.
okay. So I got so our very first flip was we paid 420 for it. The rehab was right around 130 and we ended up selling it for 700.
Wow, that's good.
Um,
So 560 all in,
yep,
sold it for
yep.
700. So after fees, you guys netted about 100,000.
A little less than that, all
Okay.
said and done. Yep, yep,
Yeah, that's great,
yep.
man. And how long did that flip take?
That one took 7 months, I believe. I believe it's 7 months. And so then from that one, so we went on the luxury side of things then, because like you said, there's cheaper flips, right? Get into that 200, 300 range and, spend 50 or 50K on the rehab and then selling it, right? So, with being that one, it was like I said, it kind of got ourselves into a luxury side of things. So then we just stayed that same route. Our next house we literally got up the kitty corner up the road because the family, well, there's three kids and then the mother and father. The father passed away and then the mother passed away during COVID. So then they were looking, they were going to put their house on the market and sell it. Well, they actually came down and toured our house, the one we flipped, when we had an open house or whatever. That we weren't there at that time, but they came and through it, and then well, then they said they were putting their house on. Well, they caught wind that, hey, they asked us if we would do it because their mom was really against, because not only the area that we're in, the also what is going on, because the times were good, was people were tearing them down, completely tearing them down, and then building like a 1.5 to $2 million house. It went big because and they could get away with it because it was just the area, right? And so they asked if we were gonna do that, and I said no. We'll update everything and then we'll put it back on the market. So they said, well, can you give us an offer? And we gave them an offer and they accepted it. And it was pretty cool with that one because then we brought them in through the journey. There was two daughters and a son. The son lived in Missouri, so he wasn't, but during the thing, the two daughters would ask if they could stop by, and we'd stop by and we'd show them what was going on. And then the son actually came back one of the times that we were pretty close to being done, and he got to go through it too. We brought him through it, so he got to see a little bit closer when it was done, but not completely. And
And
then I think
what did the numbers look like on that deal? Do you
that
remember?
one we bought that one at 525. The rehab was 180,
Okay.
and we sold that one for 855.
Okay.
Yeah, 855.
Okay. That's great. So another deal where there was about 100 or so, right?
Yep, yep, a little
Yeah.
less. Yep,
That's awesome, man. That's great.
yep,
And
yep.
so would you say that it's the same amount of work to do a bigger deal like that than a smaller house, or is it a little bit more work? Basically,
It's
what
a
I'm
little.
getting at is like, if you had to do it again, or not do it again, you're doing it again, you're currently
Yep.
doing it. But like, would you go after the smaller things? Like, do they sell faster, or do the bigger ones sell faster, or what do you notice
Well,
there?
that's the thing with the luxury side is it doesn't sell quite as fast as the little ones, right? They just they don't quite sell as because you obviously you got to have a different buyer when you're getting in the 700 to $1 million range, right? That's a
Okay.
different person, you know. So yeah, so like you said, it's luxury. I love it because it's just like you said, it's a bigger animal, and then I don't know, you get to really nail down some really cool things that you can do instead of like a $200 flip or 200K to whatever those kind of ranges. You gotta like get by all cheap shit and I'm not saying it's not enjoyable, but I enjoy like going the luxury side where you can actually get some really nice quality stuff, right? Nice
Me too.
cabinets,
Me
nice
too.
countertops, you know, because on a cheaper flip, you can't do that. You can't afford it. It won't work, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And in our
And you're
construction
not going to
company,
get
that's
out
what
of
we
it.
focus on too. We focus on the
Yeah,
high quality stuff. We don't actually work with any investors at all because we don't want to do cheap stuff.
yeah, yeah. So then it went from that one to then we made a big jump. We bought um this was our $1 million flip actually. We bought it at 650, 200 and 280 for the rehab, and then we sold it for 1.175.
Wow. Okay. So you guys on that one, you netted probably what, 250-ish?
No, we're right at 100 just because we had
Oh,
some hiccups of on the very end of it. We had a chimney that failed, so that caused a whole ruckus.
wow.
That one sucked. That one for that part of stuff like that came up. The buyer was a doctor, paid cash, right, and was just nitpicking things, and which I get it. We're at that range where they can, and they did it. But what the chimney thing was very interesting learning, because the city didn't even have their codes weren't even up to date to like can justify that chimney was because the chimney companies, we had two people come and visit or bid it, and both of them were like, wow, this chimney is in immaculate shape, like
Wow.
like, but she was anal, she wanted it lined, so it came into a like they can line it, but it was just a hassle, and it costed more than we wanted it to be, but it is what it is, right, at that
Yeah.
point.
So I mean, that's some of the pitfalls, right? Like some of the pitfalls of going with like a higher bracket or higher sales prices. You're going to get those some buyers who are really going to be nitpicky about stuff, right?
Yep,
So some of the
yep,
pitfalls of real estate I mean, there's a lot of pitfalls in real estate investing, right? But there's
yep.
also a massive amount of upside as well.
Right. Exactly. There's always, like you said, there's good, there's still good things out there, like good deals and like good opportunities, especially any investors, that I've had no in from any and from all from so far, I've raised over $1 million just in investors jumping in on opportunities like these, and they're getting double-digit returns.
Okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. So you don't you really use any of your own money to buy these flips?
Nope, nope. I
So
don't
you use
use nope, I don't use I take that back. I used some of it right away when we got started, but after it got rolling, then I didn't use anymore. Because like I said, I knew I could start raising money for, like I said, investors like you, I, whoever, um, that wanted the opportunity to earn money off the side. Like you said, the big thing with, like investors is we got to start them on a self-direct account. So then, they're not getting taxed on it. So they can, like you said, put their money in there, and then they borrow to us, and then we give them the return plus their profit, and then they don't get taxed on that because, like
okay.
you said,
Well,
it's a,
let's dive into that part a little bit more. So, I mean, you and I both know self-directed IRAs and stuff, but. I think that there's like a common misconception with IRAs that you can't. invest in real estate. So talk about that a little bit. How can people invest in real estate with an IRA?
Well, so the big one is if you have your current, say if you're a W-2 and your current job, you can, the only thing that with a current 401k IRA is you then it's a percent, you can only borrow against a percent of it. But if you have a previous 401k, that's golden, because what you can do is take, what if you want to say there's 100k in there and you want to take 50k out of it and throw it in a self-direct, you just take that, transfers right into a self-direct. It doesn't, no, again, nobody touches it, goes right into the account. Nobody gets, you're not getting taxed on it. And so then when you, okay, so now this investor wants to invest 50k with me. Well, then, okay, then he gives me the 50k, and then say he makes, I don't know, whatever the deal is, say he makes 10k on the opportunity. So then he gets his 50k back plus 10k. He has to pay the 10k taxes on the 10k, because we have to K1 him because we, like I said, we pay that. So technically he's only going to have to pay the taxes on that to go back in there again. Now that only goes back in there, and then now he can, okay, so now the next, now he's got 60k in there. Now he can borrow it again, and now, like you said, now he won't get, whatever he makes. He only has to pay taxes on what he makes on
Okay.
that opportunity.
So, okay, so they do pay taxes on the money that they make. So if he makes
Yeah,
10 grand, he pays taxes on that 10 grand.
yeah, because
But
it goes
that
back in there.
it goes back into the IRA, right?
Yeah, 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 because we have to tax him on that, because we on our end we got to file taxes, and we paid him 10k, on his, because the 50k really doesn't come in effect. I mean, it helps us, but then also, but it doesn't really. But say then now he made 10k on his 50k investment, so that's where we have to give him a tax thing and saying, hey, we gave you 10, we paid you 10k profit, so he's got to claim that. So what I'm
Got
saying?
it. Okay. So then the big advantage, it sounds like, is that they can pull money out of that without penalty, because they're not actually pulling it out. They're loaning it to themselves.
Exactly,
So that's the
exactly.
big advantage.
You're right. Exactly. You're exactly right. They're loaning into their self, and then, like you said, being a private investor then at that point.
So
Yep.
this is like one of the best kept secrets for investing in real estate, because the
Yep.
if I remember correctly, the Rockefellers are the ones that actually like created the whole self-directed IRA system.
Yep.
And it's 200 years later, it's still in place to this day for
Exactly.
for a reason.
Exactly. And not only that, but even like, say, like for you, your AI business or whatever, you want to scale that. They can borrow you. You know what I'm saying? They can borrow you too. Like, so it doesn't have to be just real estate that they invest in. They can invest in any kind of company, you know, or a
Although
restaurant. Or,
although investing in somebody's like startup, for example, right? So like with our AI services company, that would be more risky than investing in real estate.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yes.
when
And
they
you're
invest
you're
with
you're very
you,
correct. Right, you're correct on that, because what we do is what their money is, we have them on the loan document. So if something would happen to, say, me, like you said, I get hit by a bus, and so they can, again, so now they're on the title, so then they can whatever help, get it finished, right? And then they put that house back on the market, and then they sell it, and then they get their money. They get their money. So they're, we have them secured by the loan, and then plus we put them on the insurance too, in case like you said, in case something happens, they're secured
so they're
by that
fully,
property.
yeah, they're 100% secured. Their money is safe investing
Yes,
with you.
yeah. It's not, again, here we are, like, I mean, 100%. It's not 100% guarantee, right? Like the house could flop and whatever, uh, but a good chance that won't happen. But it just, there is, like, what, you've never seen a house go to zero, right? So,
Right.
like I said, it's very, very slim. But it's like you said, we can't say 100%, because totally is not we can't agree to that 100%. But
Sure. Yeah, but I
being
mean,
close,
but as far as like protecting their investment, They're
Yeah,
secured by a piece of real property.
real
Whereas if
property.
somebody was going to invest in our AI services company, they're investing into nothing secured. They're
Yeah,
investing into
totally
us,
agree.
our company, our intellectual property. But like, what was it? Where's the value in that? There's no tangible asset that
Yep,
they can hang
yep,
on to. Whereas
yep.
if people use their self-directed IRA to invest in real estate and real property, even if you are a terrible, terrible flipper and you do an awful job and you guys, let's say, break even, they're still getting their money back.
Exactly, exactly. Yep. There hasn't been a person that I haven't paid back, like you said, because you're right. I mean, it'd be you'd really have to not know what you're really, really not doing in order to, like you said, to go upside down, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what kind of projects are you guys working on right now? What are you doing?
So right now we have two things going on. We have one in Atlanta, Georgia, and then one in Jacksonville, Florida. The
Oh,
Jacksonville, Florida one. That again, that one was a cheaper one. Now that one we went to the like your cheaper end. We bought it for what was it, 200, and we had 50 in the rehab. So we're trying to sell it. This one we're only going to make probably around 50, 300. We're right in the 300 range for selling it. It's on the market now. We're getting offers. The Atlanta, Georgia one now. This can be this. I'll go with a little story on this one. So we bought this one from the parents. Now this is from the parents. Um, Now this is over a year. Now this is right at a year ago, I believe. We're right at a year.
wow.
So then they have older sons. We do not know exactly how old their sons are. We're thinking like the 30 range. They have two of them. All of a sudden they become squatters. And I've never, like you said, this whole COVID thing and it's just amazing what squatters can get away with nowadays.
Yeah.
We're just floored. Like, okay, so now they're pushing back and saying that whatever their parents weren't capable enough to sign the papers, but they had their own lawyer. Top it off now, they had their own lawyer.
Wow.
So the lawyer went through all the paperwork, they signed it, everything was agreed, we signed it. And like you said, then we went to go get in the property and they were there and then started pulling strings and everything left, right. I mean, so then you got to give them a 60-day notice, minimum of 60-day notice. And then they can still fight it and they're still fighting it. Now it goes to a judge and the judge is going to make the final call. Like it's been a nightmare from day one. Like we got, like you said, interest payments going out. It just it's not been a good deal on that one, but like you said, it is what it is. We'll get through it all said and done, but the profit that went from really good to now terrible.
Wow. So you're investing in these out of state. Obviously, you're in Twin Cities, Minnesota, and you've
Yep.
got one deal in Atlanta and another one in Florida. How do you find these deals?
A lot of it's just wholesalers. Like
Okay.
both of those were wholesalers. I mean, or just like you said, just go online and start. I mean, like you said, you can have a CRM and go into different areas, right? Pick whatever. My other business partner is in Tampa, Florida, so he's been coming across quite a few deals in Florida that we're looking at now instead of up here. It's really slow up here because of the time of the year. Minnesota, you got from basically from September, I'd say the end of September to excuse me, February. It's really slow because people don't want to move during the winter and holidays.
Yeah.
So it's terrible here trying to sell a house in
Yeah.
that time frame.
So how do you deal with like contractors and all that stuff remotely?
Um, that was so the Jacksonville was well, both these are but we haven't got a contractor in on our Atlanta one, but our Jackson one we had back to again. I was another mastermind. I found a contractor in there and um, he ended up doing the work. So I just had him do a lot of videos and take pictures of things. I after because that was our first time doing virtual like that. Now, the next ones that we do, either him or I are gonna fly to it, go through it, write down everything, write down everything that needs to be rehab, and get a little bit because they kind of screwed us a little bit on that side of things because they said that this needed to be fixed when we didn't we don't think it really needed to be fixed. And so if we would have went there, one of us would have went there and walked through it first and got a good strong rehab thing, then we could have just held to our ground, but we didn't. And so we had to kind of take their word for a little bit. And the rehab could have been a lot cheaper, let's put it that way, after all said and done. So it was a learning experience on that part of it.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're basically finding local contractors that are doing all the
Yeah.
work for you. You're mostly relying on their pictures and videos that they're sending you, but on future deals, you're going to be traveling physically yourself to go
Well,
do an inspection.
we just figured we'd have to make it at least one stop shop or at least one time.
Yeah.
And that's before everything gets rolling. Because then, like, we can say, well, okay, this is what I have on my spreadsheet, and he has something else. Well, I'll say throw that out. We're not doing it because
Yeah.
I've been there. I looked at it, so I know what I want or we want. You know, so instead of him saying, well, this needs to be done, well, it was hard to justify it when we weren't even there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it was
definitely.
like you said, it was a good one. It was a good one learning experience.
So what I'm hearing is basically either you have somebody you trust on site or boots on the ground, or you physically go to that property yourself
Yeah,
and do your
yeah,
own inspection as well.
yeah, yeah, exactly. The other thing we heard too, and we'll kind of maybe look into a little bit, is having a realtor, the realtor that we're gonna have sell the house, right?
Yeah.
Just have them bob in once in a while and just check things over, and then just give them at the end, because they're gonna sell it for us. We'll just give them another 0.5% or you know what I'm saying, something to help them for their time,
Yeah.
basically their
Yeah.
time. But
Incentivize them to help you out and do that part of it. And I think that's a great idea, finding an investor friendly real estate agent. I was in real estate for a number of years before the recession and all that. And I think that that's a great idea because
yeah,
especially right now in this market, well, every market's local, of course, but like everybody's feeling the crunch of the interest rates. And I think that a lot of real estate agents out there are looking to try and diversify and
yeah,
create other ways to make money. And that's a
yeah,
great way for a real estate agent. If there are any real estate agents listening right now, this is a great way. Get investor friendly, start going out there and networking with investors who are doing flips and offer that service. Offer the
yeah,
service
yeah,
to almost be like a project manager, but not
yeah.
really a project manager, more like a
No,
project checker upper, uh,
yeah, yeah.
and see
Just
what's going
checking, yeah,
on.
and just making sure the work's getting done. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it really, and like you said, I don't know, say it takes you 10 minutes to walk through the property. It's not like it's not a whole lot of time. You're just stopping in there, walking through the property a little bit, checking things out, and then leaving. I mean, and you could, like you said, time it where you're driving by another house, looking at another property, whatever it is, like. So it's
yeah,
not really a lot of time out of their time either.
yeah. It's really not. It's really,
No,
really not. And that could equal, an extra 10 grand or something like that
yeah,
for them upon sale.
exactly. Yep, exactly. A
Definitely.
little extra cash.
Yeah, definitely worth it. And I mean, you can obviously incentivize them by signing a listing agreement with them prior to.
Right, right.
And you have that
Exactly.
stipulation in there so that way everybody feels comfortable, everything's fair and above
Yep,
board.
yep,
Because there's a lot of screwy business in real
yep,
estate, especially in the agent world. There's a lot of people promise things like sellers, right? Seller, oh yeah, you'll get the listing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they never do. And they go with their cousin or whatever because they're going to give them
yep,
another 1/4% off. So
yep,
I think this is really good advice to flippers and investors is to sign a listing agreement with
yep,
them and say, hey, I'm going to pay you an extra 0.5% if you agree to do these checkups, these, let's say, weekly checkups, maybe twice a week or something, depending on how
Yep.
much is going on in that
Right.
property.
Yep.
And that secures their future to list the property. So I think that's a great
Exactly.
idea.
Yeah.
How are you
And I've
finding?
always too,
Sorry, go
my
ahead.
thing too with realtors, if I always tell any of the realtors that I've come across, I said, you bring me the deal, I will close the deal. You get the front end, and then also now you get to sell it on the back end. So I've always told that for every realtor that brings me a deal, an off market deal or on market, whatever it is. I said, you get to sell it to me, and then you get to sell it to another seller
Yeah,
or buyer, another buyer.
yeah. No, that's awesome. Are you strictly doing residential stuff, or are you guys looking at commercial as well?
We are looking at commercial now. We might do we're trying to get out a little bit of the single family stuff a little bit more and go into the multifamily. We do have my partner in Florida there, him and I have a 4 unit in Washington, D.C. Again, that opportunity came up to him because he's on the financing side of things. So he gets some pretty cool deals. And that came up, and so what we had to do with that one was we had to flip it basically, and then put it back on the market. Again, back to that story, back to the squatter thing. Here we had another squatter, 2 squatters in that one too. So we got 2 of the 4 units done. We got them flipped and really nice. And then we're trying to get. We're in the meantime we're trying to get these 2 other squatters in there, and we, like I said, we offered them what's mind-boggling. You offer a person cash to help them move out and to find another place, and they don't take it. I that's what's mind-boggling me, because we did the same thing in Atlanta, Georgia. We offered them cash and said, "Hey, here's some cash. Go, whatever. It's good down payment for your next for a rental property, whatever, a rental apartment, whatever it is." And I said, you don't have to pay for that up front. And we don't. And so now, like, same goes for the Atlanta, and same goes for these other people. Now they don't get anything. They're gonna eventually, the cop is gonna come knocking on their door and saying, you got to get out now. Like, they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They got to get out. Like, but they left money on the table. It's mind boggling how people leave money on the table like that. I don't.
Wow. Now, how much are you offering them? What are you giving them?
Um, the one, well, everyone, actually, all 3 of them, we offered 5K for the Atlanta property, and then 5K each on the the 4 unit in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, that's enough for a down payment, right? For a security deposit and first month's rent,
yeah,
depending on the size of the property that they're going to buy, right? Or, I
right,
mean, rent rather.
right,
Yeah. I mean, but I guess some people just don't want to leave, right? Some people want to stay where they're at.
yep, yep. I get that too, but then in the end, they got to realize that they don't have a choice at a certain point. Whenever that point comes, the cop is going to knock on their door.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
And then they're going to get nothing and they're going to get kicked out.
exactly.
Yeah.
They get, like, an hour to get their shit out. Like,
That's wild, man.
that's what I'm saying. That's what's mind boggling. And even the Atlanta one, we actually gave them 5 plus. We said, hey, we'll pay for the moving company too.
Wow.
They didn't take it. I don't. I Like I said, it's just mind boggling how people think. I don't get it. Like, I don't what their thought process is. I get, like you said, I get that you don't want to move, but there comes to a point that you don't have a choice either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all learn through our experiences, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I still, if somebody's coming to my house and saying, "Hey, you're getting booted, and I'll give you 5K," I don't know. I think I would take it.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
So are you looking for any other kind of larger commercial deals, or are you looking for like residential style? Are you guys going after like warehouses and things like that too, or no?
No, we're not going after warehouses. We're going to go after bigger multifamily. It's like, from we're trying to go from, like, we're saying from like a minimum right around a 50 to 300
300
unit.
units,
Yeah,
50 to 300 units. So you guys
yeah,
going to do like a syndication model?
yeah. Yep,
Okay.
syndication. Where, like you said, I love that's one thing what I love doing. Besides, I'm really good at the construction side of things. I'm really good at that too because I've been around all my life. But the other thing, what I love doing is making connections, just like you. You know, we love making connections. I love that part of it and making connections with investors. Um, I have one where, and I think it has to do with the holiday season where that I brought in, or almost I landed, I think, and not 100% yet, but I landed $1 million investor that is going to help us with some good opportunities, right? So we're hoping after the first year, they're kind of like on the fence about things, and they're you know what I'm saying, they're dragging their feet, which I get it at this time of year. You know, people are don't really want to do much right at the time of the holidays, and I get it. But yeah, I just recently, again, social media, reached out to a person, and um, here she has another person that she knows that wants to, could be up to 6 million.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
so if you get those investments, right, if you get 1 million or 5 million or 6 million, um, you can take that money and turn that, right, because of a down payment. You can turn
yep,
that money into a, right, 1 million down.
yep,
Let's say that's a 20% down.
yep,
You can turn that into a $5 million purchase.
yep, exactly.
And
That's
I
what we're
think
saying. So
that's the power of real estate, is that you don't like, people think that I'll never be able to buy a $5 million property. And it's like, well, yeah, you will. All you got to do is either find, you got to find one person who will invest $1 million,
yep,
or you find 10 people with 100,000.
yep,
And I think that
exactly.
people are afraid.
Yep.
People don't think that there's that much money out there, but money is literally everywhere.
Oh yes,
Investor
exactly.
money is literally everywhere, but you have to have a compelling enough offer. You have to make money feel safe,
Yep.
and you have to make people feel like they're going to get their money back, because those are the
Yeah.
two most important things, right?
Right. Well, and the big one is know, and trust. They gotta know, and trust you. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a big one right there. Like those three, like they gotta trust you, they gotta like you, they gotta know you.
Mhm.
Um, in in order to like that stuff, like $1 million has to happen. I mean, they gotta, gotta, like you said, they gotta feel comfortable investing their $1 million into something. Um, but like, well, that's like I said, what I like about with real estate is because, like you said, it's backed up by a property. Like his will be a multi 50 unit multi-family. Say just for that he puts it down $1 million on that. What I've noticed right now at the moment, because like you said, of all the interest rates and stuff, people are wanting to go more short-term stuff investing. So then with that, then you gotta, like you said, then you gotta look for something like a flip, because multifamily, it's a minimum, usually a minimum of 5 years. They have to invest on a big multifamily deal, because we can't, we're gonna rehab, we're gonna buy it, and then like I said, and then eventually get it up, and then either refi it out and then pay them, and then we get started from there. Then that's all ours from the rest from there on, or we sell it, whatever the opportunity is there at that point. um,
So you're talking about the Burr method,
yeah, kind of. Yep.
right? Can you go over
Yep.
that? What's the Burr method for people that don't know what it is?
Well, the Burr method is, like you said, you buy it, rehab it, and then you basically, so then you can do it again. Basically, you can keep doing it again, because you're, like you said, you're putting your money in there. You're, like you said, rehabbing it, and like you said, then at the end, where, like I said, then I can sell it, or I refi it out. And then, like I say, if there's any investors in, then when we refi it out at that point, then we pay off what they invested, and then they, like I said, it either go on their merry way, or we get them in another opportunity. 90% of the time, usually they get another opportunity. And like I said, then when we refi it out, then it's all basically ours, that we're making so much a year, say 100K a year on that property, and
So
then, like you
so you buy it, right? And then you'll rehab it, and then you refi everybody's money out. So you do a
yep,
cash out refi. you
Yep.
pay back your investors their
Yep.
original capital or a portion of their original capital, but then they stay in the deal and share in the profits.
Yep. 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 They can stay under the deal, or they can, like you said, or they want to get out on the deal and they want to get in a different deal or whatever, you know. Yep. It's at the end of the day, it's their decision. Um, and most of them, you know, all the ones that I've had so far up to this point, like they want to keep their money working, right? They want to keep it working. Like, so then they're like, okay, well, just put my money here, put my money into whatever you think. And then, like you said, then we got to show them what we're looking at. And then, like you said, go over things with them. And then as long as they feel comfortable, then we just keep rolling.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And obviously, once you gain their trust by one positive investment, they don't
Yep.
really want to go anywhere else. They just want to keep their
No.
money with you,
Yeah. They just
right?
want to keep it, like you said, they just want to keep it making money.
Yeah. And you've been doing this, you have a track record now, so it's proven that
Yep.
you can do it and not lose money. And so you have case studies where you can show people, hey, here's how we did it, here's how much we made.
Yep.
Past performance is not indicative of future results, but here's our track record.
Yep. The other thing, the big thing with, and you know too, but the big thing with, and I listen to Dan Fleischman quite a bit, and he's very good at teaching. But the big thing what people don't understand is they got say, okay, so like say if I did some research on this too, and I actually had I was in a event, I was got asked to teach or talk at an event. I did some research, did some stuff, and so the big one that I pull out, okay, so say an average person makes 400K through their lifetime on a 401K. They put in whatever through from whatever 20 to 65, right? Average is right around 65 retired. So in that span, the average, now I'm just saying the average 401K when that person wants to retire at 65 is right around 400K. Okay, so nowadays, obviously, we know that inflation, with all that, 400K ain't gonna get you jack any hardly anything, right? After
No,
so
when my
that's what
kid,
people don't
we'll put it,
understand.
can we put it this way? When my kids are 65, 400K is going to buy them a Tesla. It's
Yeah,
going to buy them a car. That's how much cars are going to be when my kids are 65.
exactly. Exactly. So what people aren't doing nowadays is with all this inflation stuff, they're not realizing when they go to retire, it's not going to be enough. So they got to start putting money, either start, like you said, you start investing it into bigger returns. And they're getting more money, or, you know, like you said, because all said and done, and not only the other thing is going on is we're living longer too. So, okay, so now we're going to go from 65 to say 90, you know, the wasn't before, even at 100. I mean, so like Dan says, like you're going to have to roughly have 1.5 million in your account to make, to be able to, even like say if at 1.5 you would take, say, as it breaks it down, you're averaging, I think, right around 8K a month to live off 8K a month for the rest of your life from 65 to 100.
8K is nothing.
No, that isn't nothing. Like, that's what I'm saying. People, that's where people, we got to get people to change their mindset of that, that, that 401k is not going to do anything nowadays. It really is not. And that's what's scary. I'm not, you know, it's scary. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to be enough.
Well, and it's also tied to the stock market, which you can't control at all.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. You
and
could lose.
there's no consistent returns with that. I mean, if you hold obviously if you hold blue chip stocks for 20 years, you know, you're going to have some sort of a return, but maybe it's going to be somewhere between 3 to 5% annualized. And what are you giving investors as far as your return?
So I'm average, mine is more or less right around 12. On my flips, it's 12. I put 12, but like when we get into multifamily now, we got to drop it because of the longer span. So we're right around 8%.
8%. Preferred
Yep.
return.
Yes,
Yeah, but then they also share in the profits as well.
exactly.
So their annualized return could be somewhere in the range of 20 to 30%, depending on how you operate that property or what that deal looks like.
Exactly.
So would somebody want to take, I mean, this is a rhetorical question for everybody listening, but like, would you rather have 3 to 7% in the stock market or 20 to 30% backed by real estate?
Exactly. It's a no-brainer.
No brainer.
No-brainer. No
And
brainer.
yeah.
And we were taught in that, and like I said, when we started the real estate, and we were taught that right away from in the class that, like you said, it's a no-brainer. Why would you take 10%, 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 instead of 5 over here in the stock market? And like you said, and not only that, but I mean, not only that, so now you're going to pay taxes on that 400, like that 400K, like I was talking about. Now you have to pay 400K when you at 65, and you got to take that out. And who's to know? Who's to say right now that the tax percent might go up to whatever it might go up to? You know what I'm saying? So now they might have to pay more taxes on that 400 when they go. We don't know that part, but
Yeah. It's better to be invested in real estate and have that consistent income coming in where you get those distributions as an investor, you share in those profits.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
I like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-brainer. But
Yeah,
some people
definitely.
look at it differently. But I mean, like you said, your parents and my parents, like they're kind of stubborn, and they like work all their life, and then what I'm saying, and then save. And what the scary part is, like too, is like I was listening to a podcast the other day, or it was a while ago, but um, this gal was talking about her parents. He turned 65, save, put all this money in this 401k, and then he passed away.
Wow.
Didn't get to use a dime of that. And that's the other thing. And like, we don't know what tomorrow will bring us. I mean, you save, and now where is that going to go?
Yeah.
He didn't get to enjoy it. I mean, obviously the kids will get it. I mean, like she said, I'll probably get some of it, but still though, like he didn't get to enjoy it.
Yeah. So better to invest in real estate and enjoy it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, and invest and make money, and like you said, enjoy it. Go on big vacations.
Yeah. All right, Jamie, for everybody out there listening who wants to get in touch with you or wants to know more about real estate investing, how do they get a hold of you or find you? Yeah, are you on the socials and stuff?
Yes, I am on all platforms, and a lot of it's just go Thunder Meyer. You can Google, just hit Thunder Meyer, because like my Facebook is Jamie Thunder Meyer, Instagram is Thunder Meyer, TikTok is Thunder Meyer, my Facebook.
Are you doing dances on TikTok or what?
No, no, no. I just got short videos of what either some projects, or I just say what's going on in my life, kind of basically just.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, Jamie, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm glad that we got to actually hang out and finally do this. We've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming on today. And for everybody listening out there, thank you so much for listening to the Mind Your Own Business podcast. It's been great having you, and we really look forward to next week's show.
Thank you, everybody.